Stepping out on a limb with purpose. Great things happen when we decide to climb out on a limb with purpose. Great things happen. Come and go with me out on a limb.
Welcome back to the discussion, Out on a Limb. I want to bounce this at you. How does the family type of love, influence personal values and decision making? Because you would have worked with the young people so much.
Yeah.
Their personal values and their decision making process. How does family love influence that? What are you seeing?
Well, as would have been shared earlier, the family again is the core basis of all of who we are. What we've been exposed to as children coming up, that's what we give to the world, or that's how we show up.
Yeah.
I have seen in many instances where the family would have played a major role in terms of, as you rightly said, how it is that we express, how it is that we interpret. We tend to model what we see.
Yeah.
A lot of the times we will say to children, do as I say, but not as I do. But the sad part about it is that they are going to do what you say, and they will do, how you do it. And so there's this modeling that takes place, which is why as parents, it's so critical that we have to be very mindful that we are not just leading our own lives, but we are shaping and molding the lives of our children. And weirdly, the way how you show up, that's how they're going to show up as parents, unless, as Romain said, that you decide that a change must come about. With regards now to the morals and values, the home, again, is the hub of where people tend to learn these things. This is where we learn the right, the good, the bad, all of that. Now, as it relates to how people move or exist in the world, it's a choice. It comes at the end of the day as a choice, because I've been exposed to persons who would have had horrible childhood, but they would have made it in their minds that, listen, my father was not there for me, but I'm going to shift this, and I'm going to ensure that I show up in the life of my own child to not repeat this vicious cycle.
Gotcha.
And so at the end of the day, first it starts off as modeling, but as you evolve and you grow, it becomes a choice. So as they say, you are born looking like your parents, but you really die looking like your decisions. So at the end of the day, our lives might be modeled by our parents or the storge kind of love when we're younger. But over time, how it evolves, it really rests on our decision on how we choose to show up ultimately.
Got you.
Yeah.
And may I just add, we have concluded and we have agreed that the family type of love can really stretch beyond the biological framework.
Oh, yes.
And so I find that a lot of, and I cannot quantify here, but I find that a lot of the people in society who would have had a shaky family structure, who actually come out to be the opposite of that broken system,
Exactly.
would have had even one influencer.
Oh, yes.
That's it.
A teacher at school,
Yes.
a Sunday school teacher at church, a pastor, in some cases, an employer.
Yeah.
Because I've had young men who said to me, I used to work for, and that is the best boss. That man taught me X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
Right.
I can attest to that. I mean, I came from a very good family structure, well, tight bond. But still in my adult life, I came across a former boss. And if you're watching, sir, you know this story. This man would have impacted me because he taught me a level of mutual respect that, as blessed as I was to come up in a family structure that was really healthy, this level of mutual respect and bonding, I would say, was lacking. And as a man, one of my former bosses, he showed me, in fact, he told me, do not call him Mr. X or Mr. Y. He was my boss. And where I come from, you call an adult. He said, don't call me that.
Wow.
He pushed me to call him by first name.
Wow.
And I struggled with doing that. When I turn up at the office on a Monday morning, I'm supposed to look at this man and go, I struggled because I didn't come from that. So I'm saying all of this to say that he would have influenced me a certain level of bonding and mutual respect that was necessary. And it forms part of who I am today. So I'm making the point that even though people in society may have come from a broken system, there is that one person out there. And sometimes the influence is of such that it might not be that you would have even been in the same space with the person. It could be a musician, a reggae artist, a poet, you know, somebody who you look up to because of the message that's coming from them. And they will tell you, that's my idol. So this is very important, as we all agree that the family type of love should not be relegated to biology, just the family structure.
I was waiting to comment on that, Mark, to say restorative love is not just the family, the unit as we know it. It's who you're able to form that bond with, right? As in your case. So the bond could be with, you know, a coworker, a boss. It could be with someone in the community, a neighbor, just somebody that you look up to, and it forms that kind of familiar kind of love.
And we all have examples of those who would have contributed to our lives in a positive way.
Absolutely.
Can I tell you? I give you a joke. I love my family very much, but can I tell you, there is no other greater family to me right now than my church family.
Wow.
Because my family, I grew up with a single mother. So my father was there, yes, but he wasn't present many of the times. And Bishop S.U. Thomas was a pastor I looked up to as a father figure. Because I remember days when my mother couldn't afford to give me lunch money to go to school. You know, Bishop was the person who took on that role as a father. And the only thing he would say to me when I would come to, you know, collect my lunch money back then is, my daughter, continue to live for the Lord and do well in school.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just because of the financial gain at the time, but also the principles that he instilled in us as children of God. One of the things I look at every time, and it's this: it doesn't matter what you give to your children, it's what you leave in them. That's gonna make the difference. Because you can give your children wealth, you can give them the cars, the this, the that. It is what you leave inside of them that's gonna cause them to either be a man of valor or a vicious person. So it's really what you instill in them, and the principles that he would have left as a leader, as a man of God, as a father figure. That for me would have shifted also the negative perception I had with my father. Because it wasn't all the time that we had festive relationships with my father. You know, probably another time we'll get into that. But I've had, over the years, I would have had a very strained relationship with my father. It's better now, but I know in my younger years there was this very much of a strain because I thought he could have done better. But the thing is that my father did not have the model to really show the love. So he loved you, but he didn't know how to show it. And that's how I required it to be shown to me. I didn't get that. So I think for me, Bishop Thomas, as my pastor father, would have really helped to sort of reignite my hope in understanding that there are men out there who understand the assignment and will show love to you, you know, even not being loved.
Romain, what do you say to a young man who's out there? He is yearning for positive influence. He's been let down by his biological family. And he is now at a place where he has a negative view of the family, pure, no agenda, no, but pure family type of love. He's yearning for it, but he has built up a wall because in a still homophobic society, he does not want to get close to or allow that kind of positive influence. Look into that camera and talk to that young man who needs the influence but is scared.
First, I want to let him know that I understand his care, and he is not at fault for being scared, but he is responsible for what is going to happen as of this. He has in his hands the power to change what he has been exposed to and now shift to what is possible. I say to him, it is possible. Family love and good, healthy family love is still possible. Can be found in God, can be found in the church, and there are other units within our society that can be that which you are looking for. I also want to say to you, don't go to the wrong places to seek that sense of security and belonging. I say that because a lot of our young men seek that and they have found it in gangs, in illicit activities, in the wrong places. And what feels like security is really an illusion, a delusion. So you have churches, you have good men, upstanding men and women in your community, in and around you, who you can look to. You don't need to go in full at once. Take your time. Let the process of trust be built up and then see where that leads you. I really, really would want to say to you, take the number of Elder Mark, because he's a good man, a good upstanding man. But there are churches, and you can reach out to us, and we can direct you as best as possible how to get that which you are looking for in terms of family life.
Awesome, awesome. Denise, a young lady, hurt in the past. She has built up a wall. In her mind, the possibility of pure family love does not exist. She is miserable. She is angry. What do you say to her?
You know, there is hope. That's the first thing. There is hope. I have had the opportunity of mentoring some younger girls, women now in their own rights. Some of them who have, gotten pregnant, by the way. And beautiful child, unfortunate incident, beautiful child. And so they need to pick up the pieces and move on again. That can be one of the most difficult things. But I'm saying that there are role models out there that you can look to, that you can pick up the pieces of your life again and begin to put them small building blocks. It may be rough at first, but it pays out in the long run. So you're not the only one struggling, because some of us, even though we have help and support and everything, we are still struggling and struggling to find our way. Some persons who have even grown up with that full family love still struggle to socialize, to normalize in their jobs, illnesses, all kind of challenges that we can have along the way that changes the dynamic of how we live, right? But you're not alone. There are several places of safety. We have a Ministry of Gender, and Ministry of Gender, they also have different organizations that we can reach out to assist and help us along the way. And several social units as well. The church is one that you can tap into. But I also want to say, Mark, and I don't even want to divulge into this section, that sometimes we tend to shun both boys and girls when they are not walking the straight and narrow.
Okay.
But we need to, as a country and as a social unit, including church, begin to find ways of rehabilitating our young men and our young women.
Very
As
important.
they're out there. This is not something that we have invested in,
Yes.
but I really think there needs to be some kind of investment in rehabilitation. Not only those who are incarcerated or not, have gone way out on the limb, but just have the programs there that they can tap into. Right. Those or even our unattached youth. Those kind of programs. We have a lot of international development programs that are here. But what exists locally for us to have them to be able to tap in. So I want to say to my precious, beautiful young man, look inside you, that individualistic part of it, and the value that exists within you. Think about where you want to go. And this is something that I have lived by over the years. Even if you are homeless and on the road, write your little vision board. This is where I am, and I'd like to get to X. Because if you don't know where you're going, you're not going to get there. So, find your path, have your vision board, and you make your steps, and then you find the persons who can help you to get there. And some people get asked for help,
Yes.
and they're very depressed that they didn't get any help, but there's always better help above that one.
Yeah.
So you have to have the patience with life itself, have the patience with life itself, and you'll make it.
Thank you so much. Ruth,
Oh.
there is a concept that is strong in society, especially by young people who are hurting. A victim mentality. So I dropped out of school, my father wasn't there. This is who I am. This is my portion, this is my life. It is the government's fault. It is my father's fault. It is my mother's fault. It is my stepfather's fault. So I have accepted that I am a failure. And I am going to live in the streets, a female now, and I am going to look for the next sugar daddy, the next man. So my hope out is a man. Doesn't have to love me, just provide my necessities. And my hope and my validation as a human being is in a man. A lot of young ladies are out there like that.
Yeah.
What do you say to such a person?
Well, I would say to that person, you don't have control over what you have been through, but you have a responsibility. The word responsibility, there are two words, response and ability, to change the trajectory of your life. It's easy to stay a victim, but it's even more compelling and important for you to emerge as a victor, which you can. But in order to do so, your decisions, what you do with your life now, is gonna determine rather how it is that you show up in your future. It's so easy to play the blame game, Mark. It's so easy to blame everybody around you. But the challenge is we have to look within ourselves and realize, do we want to change? Because the moment that you decide, that's the critical part about life. The moment you make a decision, that's when your life will either go backward or it will go forward. So making the decision now of where you see your life, as Denise rightly said, if you want to go somewhere, you first have to assess, where am I now? Assess it. You're in the victim mindset. You've gone through it. My heart goes out to you. I can't imagine the many things you've been through, but one thing is for sure, you can move forward from that. You can overcome, right? but you have to make the decision to move from where you are now to where you need to be. And there are resource persons who can help you. You can't do it on your own. So find people who would have probably had similar circumstances and would have overcome. Use them, model their tactics and tools. You will not be able to win a war unless you have a strategy that works. And many times we seek out new strategies, not understanding that persons who have already won, we can adapt and tweak those strategies to apply to our own lives. So as you do that, you can move forward in making the best use of your life. As a matter of fact, you're not a victim. You know why? Because your story is going to transform somebody else's life. Somebody is waiting on the other side of your victory so that they can lead and move into their own victory as well.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Before I ask the final question, which is the tip of the limb, because we are out here on the limb, I too want to speak to a young person out there, young or old, by the way, who has had a bad experience with family. Family has let you down, has not shown you love, you feel like the outcast, and it has affected your life. I want to say, I understand, I can empathize, better put, with what you're going through and where you are. Yes, it hurts, and yes, you were dealt a hard hand. But there are several persons out there in society who have bounced back from greater than what you are experiencing. There are several persons out there who have been raped, beaten, left in the streets to die. People I know who would not be afraid to come on this podcast and share their story with you. There are people who have been abandoned by family, age 25, trying to get a high school diploma. So you're not the only one. The question is, do you want to have the same condition 10 years from now? Ask yourself that question. Because for every bad experience that you've had, there is somebody else out there with a worse experience. So the power is within you. Cry if you must, hurt if you must, but find a safe person. There is Family Life Counseling Center. Go to a church and they will point you. Join a community club. Join the police youth club. Yes, there are still healthy, good policemen out there. Yes, there are still good teachers out there. In recent times, we are hearing our teachers are not looking good with some of the things they're doing. But even in the face of that, there are still good principals, good teachers. Find a community leader, a good one. Have a conversation and start your journey in the right direction. It's not over until it's over. Earlier on, we explored another side of love, which is the sexual, passionate type of love. And now we are exploring the family love. Here is a question, the tip of the limb question. What happens when eros, the sexual type of love, is conflicted with storge, the family type of love? What happens? How do you treat with that? For example, Ashane sees John as her heaven-sent lover, knight in shining armor. This is how Ashane sees John. But John sees her as just my bona fide good friend. How do you advise?
You married your friend?
Ashane.
In her life, she's married to you.
Talk to me, because this happens. This happens. I see Rev smiling and I'm wondering if he has had this experience, but I'm not going to bother him. But it happens. It happens in
All the time.
one sees one. She's burning up. Help Ashane, because John is not bursting the question. Don't laugh at Ashane. Help her.
Oh, yes.
You know, it's funny that you asked that question. So, my wife and I, we knew each other years before. So I was like a son to her father and mother.
Okay.
So she always saw me as her brother.
Oh, she friends with you.
So we've never seen each other outside of that.
Is her name Ashley?
But her father passed, and somehow, somewhere along the line, I heard, I had to look if it was somebody was talking to me. She's my wife, and I'm like, no, we have never seen each other like that. We have never crossed that boundary. And it so happened over time, we started spending more time together. We developed that kind of friendship bond, and we realized that the more we spent time together, the more we became attracted to each other.
Eros start brewing now.
And so with that quality time, the attraction grew, and what was a brother sister became friends, and friends became lovers. And so Ashley, take it from me, I've been there. Allow time to work it out. For me, I'd say don't force it. Just allow time to take its course. I firmly believe if it is to be, it will be. And as a man of faith, whatever is in the plan and the will of God for your life will happen. And so be patient. Don't worry. Your friend, your brother might be your lover soon.
We are perfect.
But your story, I'm sorry. You're not getting off like this because your story,
We appreciate
your story ended.
I think I just set up myself.
Your story ended in the ideal.
Yeah, man. The Hollywood.
Okay,
time.
because
Lifetime.
you became that heaven sent lover. But what happens, and you talk about patience, what happens when Ashane is waiting for 15 years? You're not married yet.
Thank you.
And she
The
is
time.
boiling up
The
with
time.
Eros, but you are just treating her as your body.
And the truth is, Mark, I've seen cases like those.
Yeah.
Where young ladies were friend zoned, or men were friend zoned for years, and they kept on waiting. And guess what? The person ended up marrying somebody else.
Yeah.
So in that case, I'm saying, move on.
Yes.
You have to know when to
gauge.
cut the cord and just say, all right, friends, move on. Because again, sometimes though we are friends, our marriage doesn't work out.
Well, that's what I was about to speak to. Because sometimes when you cross,
Yeah, the dynamics just
you marry your friend, but you want to be treated now like that special person. How do you cross that barrier? That transition is not happening.
So you're offering a word of caution.
Yes, you have unmet
Yeah.
expectations.
Oh, yes.
And maybe your spouse is complacent that, well, you accepted this
Yeah.
as a friend.
Yeah.
So this is what they're offering.
They don't have the
And-
capacity.
right. And then now that can be a
it can be.
transition from a friendship to a relationship.
And the expectations are different.
Oh, yes.
Yes, two totally different expectations.
Different expectations.
So I want to know how old is Ashane still, because the time thing is critical, right? I look at it as,
You don't want to wait in vain.
why? Actually, it's sad because, you know, when you said it, there are so many single sisters that I'm sure will probably tune into this and will be
Yes.
like, yes, you know, they have a
Not just
probably,
single sisters,
single brothers.
apostolic
Apostolic,
Pentecostal
yeah.
sisters.
Eligible, I may add.
And I mean, this is somebody who they rap, you know, they rap well with, they have really good relationship with. But again, the compatibility now to move from that friendship kind of love to the Eros kind of love, boy, it now looks so right. But one of the things I think we need to examine though, when we seek to understand that transitioning is or interpretation of love. Because I think poor, did Ashane's friend have a name?
John.
John. Poor John. John is a good, upstanding young man. His mother or father would have trained him to be, a ladies' gentleman. So, whenever Ashane come and open the door and she
Lord
feels
of
sweet,
mercy.
and she think that's love.
The ideal
But
guy.
really, in his head, he's just being a gentleman. However, for Ashane, it's translated as, oh my God, he's deeply in love with me. And whilst you can build on that, as Romain said, in his situation, not in all cases. And so I believe this is where now open-hearted conversations must be had. However, you must also have to gauge yourself if you're able to get the honest truth. Because it can be sometimes where there's that mutual love and feeling, and sometimes it's just
complicated.
a figment of your imagination.
Well, that a part of that is the lack of the ability to have meaningful relationships.
That's it.
How do you approach that? Because that, I believe that is a weakness we have.
That
Oh,
is
yes.
it.
In general, now, bring it.
Yeah.
You're told, you can't talk to anybody.
And then you see it comes right back to
Parents.
storge.
Yeah.
Not having a healthy storge, it affects what happens in.
At what age, though, you allow your children to have that kind of meaningful discourse, relationship, to begin to learn how to transfer that story of love into something else, into something more? This is something I struggled with, right? We have the law about our children and the age of what we define nationally as a child, and respect for the age of consent around that.
And then growing up in an apostolic church, you have a different age.
I believe you're falling off the limb right now. You're way out there on the limb.
You have a different age.
So where and how do we
Yeah.
teach our children now to
Yeah.
have meaningful relationships? So you
That's
don't
true.
end up in that position where
yes, you're waiting
you
in vain.
think you are, and so you understand the signals. It's the
Yeah.
emotional intelligence. There is such a thing.
Oh, yeah.
But that part, that emotional intelligence, I think in more cases than not, we don't explore it, we don't understand it. It's subdued based on our upbringing.
Yeah.
And I would love if
Yeah.
we could give tips on how, on really like how and when. Maybe not today, because this
Yes,
is something you have to be
yes.
careful.
You have to be careful with how we give. But
It's important.
Yeah.
it's important.
It is.
It's important.
It is.
Several persons would have had this experience.
Yes,
Where
absolutely.
and somebody leaves very often, the ladies, not in all cases, but
That's
my
true.
experience
That's so true.
have shown that several ladies would have left heartbroken.
Yes.
There is the family type of love being expressed within a relationship. The male, he really loves you from a family perspective. And as Ruth said, your interpretation of that is, oh my God, I'm just waiting. And then one day, he asks you to be a maid of honor in his wedding.
Deborah.
Is it?
And
That's true, Mark.
and you end up hating him, and you paint John as
demon.
the wickedest criminal from the pit of hell,
Oh, yes.
because he would have led me on all these years. This led me on thing, all these years, when all he was doing was being a good
That's a
gentleman.
That's a
Now,
profound
I am not going to be hypocritical. I know that too many of our men
Too many.
are guilty of leading other women on. And if you're out there, you must stop it.
Stop it.
Yeah.
But having said that, there are some pure guys
Yes.
who they're just having a good platonic relationship, and they are labored. So I am saying we have to have the conversation. Like we're doing right here,
Yeah.
Honest.
out on the limb. Have the conversation. Parents, have the conversation with your son. Have the conversation with your daughter.
Yeah.
Show them what real love looks like. And when they become of age, along the way. For me, it's a scaffolding thing.
Yeah.
You would be amazed to know the kind of conversations I have with my daughter.
Yeah.
She's only 18 years old.
It's necessary.
The other day we were somewhere and she has already told me that her wedding, she does not want the traditional type of wedding. A sixth former having a discussion with her father, that must be a good guy. She wants a garden, a nature type of thing. She loves nature. I wonder where she gets it from. But she wants anything called nature. So we were somewhere the other day and I was saying, well, I heard myself saying, but you have to be careful of these outdoor weddings because if it rains, and then I said to myself, what am I talking to? Little girl, go sit down. But I'm saying, have the conversations, parents, because over time you build and these children now they get it and they are better able to interpret what the family type of love looks like and what the eros type of love, have an idea what that looks like, and that will help them not to wait in vain.
Oh, yes.
The thing that Ruth is scared of.
Oh, yes.
And Mark, I thought you were going to move into now. And so what if they come to you and said, well, I have a boyfriend, I have a girlfriend. I'm interested in a boy, I'm interested in a girl.
That's the next discussion when we come back on the limb. But here's what I want to say though. We should come to a place in society, and let me narrow this down to the church community, where we move away from a concept that it is not ladylike to ask certain questions. And I am not putting this out there as a rule for any pastor. I'm not putting this out there as a rule for any church leader. This is Mark Reid speaking personally now, and the panel might disagree with me. I believe it is within the right of a lady who would have kept herself safe and sanctified, held it together, and has gotten to the place where, like Ashane and John's scenario, this guy is treating her nicely, inviting her out, talking about Daniel and Job and all of that, buys her ice cream, all of that, and just being a good gentleman to her. I believe she is within her right, after a time, to say, hey, John,
Where are we?
what's happening here?
Where are we?
Oh, yes.
What's happening here?
Yeah.
I want to be clear.
Absolutely.
It does not make you less of a lady. Hear me, Ashane.
Or you're pushing.
Hear me, Mary. Hear me, Dawn. It does not make you less of a lady to say, I respect you, I love the God in you. But let me be honest with you. I'm a little confused.
Oh, yes.
And I'd like to know so that my expectation can be kept in check. It can and should be done. It's okay.
Saves you the heartbreak.
It saves you the heartbreak. And it saves labeling innocent John
Oh, yes.
when he's innocent.
But to
that
me,
is.
that is individual emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
You want to know. That question,
Yeah, but some persons are afraid to know the answer too. There are those
They don't want to be
persons.
told no.
But that is why I'm thankful for my name Ruth, because when you read the story of Ruth, when Ruth went to Boaz, she said, boy, brethren, you're the next kinsman, so what are we? And then you could clearly see that Boaz said, really? All right.
Struck a chord.
I soon come back. And then the man acted. So she had the conversation. It was a difficult one, Mark, you.
Yes.
But at the same time, she was not living in the Lulu land thinking, I wonder if him like me. Or I wonder if him not like me. She just made her thing very straightforward and then she got her answer. Because Boaz eventually acted.
So there is a safe, healthy, ladylike way
Absolutely.
to ask the question, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And then the answer no is not always a bad thing.
Yes.
And I think we have to understand and
Say
learn
that
how-
again.
The answer no is
Yes.
not always a bad thing.
All right.
We have to understand how to deal with a no,
Absolutely.
right? And how to deal with a yes.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, rather interesting. Thank you for being with us. That's how we do it out here on a limb. We ask you to join us for the next episode as we explore and deal with the things that you ponder but seldom explore. Thanks for being with us right here out on a limb.